Hi, this is Leslie. And if this intro sounds funny, it's because I'm in my car, about to go into work, and try not to die. This episode is a bonus episode. You see, Quinzel went to WakandaCon, and it was great. However, the journey getting there was rough. We wanted to do this in two separate portions, her journey there and back, and WakandaCon, because they're two separate episodes, and WakandaCon was great. It was wonderful. She had an amazing time, met a bunch of amazing people. But the journey, oh Lord, the journey. I'll just say this for now. Greyhound bus preys on poor people. And it's hard enough being poor. When you're paying for a service, you should not have this many inconveniences. And Greyhound has been this way ever since I was a kid. Probably even before I was born. I don't know. But something's got to change. And I plan on sending this episode to the CEO, but he probably doesn't care because when I went to the website, one of his fondest memories involves a Greyhound bus breaking down. So yeah, that's what we're dealing with here. Anyway, I hope you enjoy. This is Leslie. Welcome to Geeky Girls Night In.
Hold on to your seat.
What are you doing?
Now you're talking.
And now,
you are now listening to the Geeky Girls Night In podcast.
You are now listening to the Geeky Girls Night In
podcast.
Bonus ep. So, welcome to a bonus episode of Geeky Girls Night In, and this episode is brought to you by what we're going to call Quinzel's Adventures in Cons. But it wasn't really a con issue. It was, I guess, an outside force. I'm going to let Quinzel tell the story because it is her story to tell, and I was just digitally along for the ride. So let's get it started. First off, basically you were going to WakandaCon, right?
Yes, I'm so glad that you're good at like setting up the story too, because I was just going to go in, but yes, I was going to WakandaCon.
Yes, and Quinzel is not local to WakandaCon, and so in order to get there, she needed a means of transportation. Let's start there. Just get into it.
Yeah, so really I thought, honestly, I decided with the Greyhound bus, there was something going on major that I couldn't figure out the week of WakandaCon. So travel was like exponentially high. I had looked into flights, I had looked into even the train, and everything seemed to be like 2 times the amount that it normally is. Greyhound was pretty cheap. And while the travel was going to be lengthier, I thought that actually this would work out. So, being as, I'm a writer, so I mean, writers don't really make bank.
Right.
So, yeah.
So I'm gonna stop you right there, and I'm gonna let listeners know that I am bougie, and so I have not willingly traveled a Greyhound and since I was like 20. No, I could drink. So 21 was probably the last time I traveled Greyhound, and I'm pushing 40 from the back end hard. And it ended, that trip ended okay. I got back home fine and safely, no delays. But the trip before that, I didn't live in Indianapolis at the time. I lived in Kokomo, and the bus does travel to Kokomo, but it takes a very convoluted route. From Indianapolis to Kokomo is an hour of travel. The bus was going to go to, it started in, the stop where I finally lost my entire mind was Indianapolis, and it was going to go from Indianapolis to Richmond, which is northern Indiana, which is about 3 hours from Kokomo, and then it was going to travel back down to Kokomo. When I found that out, I promptly lost my shit in the bus station and called my mother in hysterics, saying that I would wait till the end of time, but I am not getting back on that bus. Please come pick me up. I'm out of chicken and a biscuit crackers. I'm going to have a meltdown. So that, and then the trip that I took when I was around 21 to visit my father was the last time I took Greyhound. And now I travel non-rev, which means that I basically can fly for free for the most part. There are some exclusions to that. And I do enjoy a train ride too. So yeah, I'm bougie now and I can't do it. With that said, the bus, I've had some adventures on the bus. Like, I've made friends, and they weren't long-lasting friends. They were bus friends. Like, there was the group of girls that were like 16 years old, and they were traveling by themselves, getting harassed by an older gentleman, and I promptly threw chicken and a biscuit crackers at him and just left him alone. There was the fine dude that I sat next to, and we talked about bands for 3 hours. And then we got to one of the stops, and there weren't enough seats on the bus, and like the line that they split it ended with me, but I grabbed him and said he was my cousin, so they let him travel with me too. They kicked somebody else off the bus to allow him, and I was like, so, but it seems more and more we're seeing a lot of issues with the bus. As a matter of fact, this past week there was an article where the bus driver just quit in the middle of his shift and left people stranded for 9.5 hours?
Yep, 9.5 hours. That was Greyhound too. So just so you guys know, the story that I'm about to tell you very much lines up with that story. So this wasn't a one-off. Greyhound just absolutely sucks. If you have to save your money because like you're a cosplayer and you're trying to go to convention, like that's all I was thinking is like, wow, if I was a cosplayer and I was trying to go to conventions and I was trying to save money, like this would be awful.
Right. Right. So kick it off from the beginning. Like you board the bus and what happens?
Well, I get to the bus station, right? And I get there a little early because, I'm waiting for my bus to take off at like 9 or so. Then the bus is delayed 2 hours. So no, not even 2 hours, because it was like 9:40, 10:40, 11:40. So a little over 2 hours because he didn't get there till midnight.
Which is completely normal, by the way. Like, I've never seen a Greyhound bus on time, period.
Yeah. And I thought maybe like a little late, like, okay, like 30 minutes, 45 minutes, hour, 2 hours. Okay, this is really weird. So I'm like, okay, it's fine. Like, well, we might get there just in time because I have to do a transfer in St. Louis. So a stop in St. Louis and then transfer to the next bus. And that was going to be at like 3 a.m. So I was trying like, hang on, like, okay, we just get there right at the time. We'll just run up there really fast to be able to get to our next bus.
Right.
We were boarding the bus and the girl in front of me, the bus driver is like taking everybody's tickets, and he goes up to the girl in front of me and he's like, give me some gum. Give me some gum. And I'm like, I'm sorry, do you know her?
Right?
Like, and she was just kind of like, okay. So I get on the bus and I'm already kind of like nerve-wracked because we're late and there's no 2 seats together. There is one that I spot and I'm like, great, like me and my friend will sit together here because it's a long bus ride, we'll be fine. And then I look and there's like no space, so the seats are like all the way up to like the edge of the next seat.
Yeah.
So I'm looking for the lever and I'm like, okay, so there's clearly like a lever or something that I just need to push it back because it's just like really far up. That's weird. And I'm looking and the bus driver is getting irritated. He's like, everybody needs to sit down, we're already late, we need to go.
Like,
and I was
it's
like,
my fault.
Yeah, I know, right? So I'm like, I'm sorry. I just need to know the lever to be able to push these seats back so that I can sit right here because I need to sit next to my friend. And he's like, I'm not moving seats. I'm not moving seats. You need to just find somewhere and sit down. And I'm like, oh my God, it's midnight. Okay. And so I'm also looking for my friend, and then she somehow didn't get a tag for her bag. So she was like trying to get her bag under the bus and come back. And I'm like, okay, so this is who I'm looking for. Like, I'm trying to make sure you don't leave yet. Like, here she is. And he's like, y'all need to sit down. We're running late. We're running late. Like, you move so they can sit together. Apparently they want to sit together because I'm not moving seats. And I'm like, what is he talking about? So I hear the other people in the back say it, like, I guess they have to do some mechanical thing to move the seats back because like they move them, some of the seats all the way forward because I guess if somebody comes in with a wheelchair or something like that.
Okay.
Which makes sense. But I didn't know that.
Right.
I'm just standing here like, I'm not asking you to do that. But yeah, so he's still going off about the seats. So we finally get to moving. And he gets on the intercom. And he's like, thank you for traveling with Greyhound today. But y'all got me messed up. You know, y'all want to get on the bus.
Oh my God.
I'm going to back up a second. He very much reminds me of the family that I talk about in the blog that I don't really talk to anymore. This triggered the flip out of me. I'm not cussing yet because I'm going to get to that later. And he's saying like, y'all want to be mad that the bus late, and then y'all want to get on this bus and you want to have like guns and stuff. We found a bullet on the bus and then we got to stop the whole bus. And y'all get on this bus, y'all need to be acting like real men and like real women, okay? Now, if women is somebody, you know, if you fall asleep, somebody try to get up under your shirt, you make sure you scream real loud, all right? But if that ain't happening, don't you say nothing on this bus. And I'm just like, now this rant ran on for a good portion of our trip.
like, was there meth involved in your trip? Was this like a run for meth?
Usually meth makes you clean, right?
I mean...
I don't know if it makes you rant as much.
Meth. I don't know either.
I can't sleep and I can't eat, but I got the
cleanest house on
the block. Yeah, so that bus wasn't very clean, so it couldn't have been meth.
Okay.
But oh my God, so he's ranting about people needing to act like real men and real women and talk about people fighting on the bus, and then y'all want to be mad when the bus late. And I'm just like, oh God, put on my headphones. So there's a moment where I fall asleep. And this
Did you feel a hand under your shirt?
I did not feel a hand under my shirt. What I heard was like, you know, kind of when you're on the shoulder of the highway. That. So I was used to hearing that off and on. And I was like hearing it for a while. This time it was followed by driver. And like, everybody yelling because apparently he was so close to the edge of the shoulder that he was like gonna basically drop off the highway. Like drop off the road.
How did you not get pulled over by the cops is beyond me.
I don't know. And then so he goes, y'all shut the hell up, I know what I'm doing. That's what he said. When we're like, no, you were literally so close to the edge of the shoulder. So I wake up with everybody saying that, and I can see like when I wake up and look out the window that's what happened. Is he's really close to the edge of the shoulder where it drops off into like the field basically. And what it seemed like to us, it's like he must have fell asleep too because it's, you know,
late
in the morning at this point.
Right.
And he's like, yeah, shut the hell up. Shit. Now I know what I'm doing. I know how to drive. Shit. And he's just going on this other rant again. And I'm like, I just want to get there. I just want to get there. I'm looking at my watch. I'm like, we're going to cut it close. Fine. What do we do? He's like, we pull up to St. Louis. He's like, y'all get there. Y'all done miss y'all bus. That bus gone. So, I mean, sometimes the bus wait for you. Sometimes it don't. So the bus ain't going to wait for you. So you just got to go to customer service. I can't help y'all no more. I'm like, okay, fine.
Like, you didn't help me in the first place, my guy.
Yeah, exactly. So we get our bags. We run to customer service. We're like, okay, we got to figure out what to do. Customer service is like, it's fine. There's a bus leaving at 4:30 in the morning. You just get in that line. You'll be good to go. Right?
Wrong.
This is not where it ends.
No.
And this is where I start cussing because 4 o'clock in the morning comes and goes. 5 o'clock in the morning comes and goes. 6 o'clock in the morning comes and goes. 7 o'clock in the morning comes and goes.
Now I'm gonna stop you right there real quick. What time originally were you supposed to be at WakandaCon?
I was supposed to be there at 10:10 a.m.
All right, keep it moving.
So by 8 o'clock, we are literally like, where is the bus? So we have asked customer service. We don't know nothing. It's just delayed. It's just delayed. It's just delayed.
Don't
now,
they have like not an intercom, but like you know what I'm talking about? Like a CB, like, where the hell are you?
So apparently they do. And they just kept saying, we don't have an answer. We don't know anything. It's just delayed. They have a little screen, and that's actually on my Twitter. If you go to my Twitter, Quinzelee, Quinzelee, then you'll see I have a picture of like what the board looks like. And that was actually coming from Chicago, coming back home. Instead of it having like an estimated time of arrival, it just said delayed.
but like what I'm saying is like a walkie-talkie situation where they can pick it up and be like, you know, bus XYZ, where the hell you at?
So they do. I mean, any time that I would either go to customer service or talk to somebody, I mean, they would have it. Like, I mean, they absolutely had a CV. At a certain point, they just stopped asking, and they would just be like, we just don't know where the bus is. So to me, that tells me this is like a normal occurrence.
Which it is. It is.
They just
like,
have no idea.
At one point, when I rode Greyhound, the bus driver showed up drunk.
Mm-hmm.
And so they sent him home, and they have an on-call person for these occasions. And they called him, and he wasn't answering. And like, they called him every hour on the hour for 4 hours until he picked up. And like, this was before cell phones were prevalent everywhere. And he was just like, I was asleep.
Wow.
Yeah. So it's common.
Yeah. So like, they just were like, we have no idea. Stop asking us. Like, the bus will get here when it gets here, basically, is how they were treating it. So about 8 o'clock, mind you, we've been they told us you need to stand in line because your bus will come in any moment. We'd been standing up since 4:30 in the morning. It is now 8 o'clock in the morning. And, you know, you guys also know that I have MS. Like, I couldn't really, like, with the stress of the first leg of travel, I had to sit down. So people started to kind of sit down, like, not in the walkway, like literally like how we were standing in line.
Yeah,
just sitting down.
I've done that before.
And the security guard came through and said, y'all need to stand up right now. And I was like, excuse me, we've been standing for 4 hours. What are you talking about? Y'all need to stand up right now. And he's a black dude. And he's like, you need to stand up right now or we're kicking you out. And I'm like, are you serious? Then tell me when the bus is going to get here. He says, I don't have to tell you nothing. You just need to stand up. And at that point, I stand up. I call the customer service line. Customer service is outsourced in India. So, I mean, the only issue with that is like, they don't know St. Louis, Chicago, like where this and that is going. So I'm like, I am on a bus. I am on this number bus going to this location. I'm just trying to get to Chicago. They also don't know anything. They also have no answers. They're very good at being like, yes, we're here to help you. Yes. Can you tell me your confirmation number again? Okay. Yes. And tell me where you're traveling again? Yes. And can you also tell me your confirmation number one more time? Okay. And where are you traveling to? Like, they're very good at keeping the conversation going till you eventually just like hang up. Like, and it's very, very, very annoying. So I had called them. They gave me the runaround. 9:30 is when the bus shows up. But my bus is not going to Chicago. My bus is going to Indianapolis.
Hey!
So now I had to go to Indianapolis, from St. Louis to Indianapolis, and then figure out at Indianapolis how the hell I am getting to Chicago.
Now I'm gonna stop you there. So I got the text from you asking if it were possible if I could pick you up in Indianapolis, and I was a little confused, but I was also a little concerned because I was working, and unfortunately work took me out of town that day. I was in a complete other city about an hour and a half away, dealing with stupid stuff. So I was like, I can pick you up after I get off work, or after I get back home, because I'll leave work right from there. I don't give a fuck. But I didn't have my car. I was in a rental car with two other coworkers, and I couldn't be like, we need to go home right now. I have an emergency, because it just doesn't work that way. Because they'd be like, what emergency? Because they know my family and stuff. So I was like, I can pick you up when I get home, but I'm like 2 hours away.
Right.
So
yeah. So like at that point, I just couldn't imagine like waiting another 4 hours after being yelled at to stand up. Mind you, it's 9:30. Mind you, we've been standing up since 4:30 in the morning. It is now 9:30. I am supposed to be in Chicago in an hour, and I am on my way to Indianapolis.
And I'm here to tell you, Indianapolis to Chicago straight shot 3.5 hours.
Yeah. So I'm getting on the bus. This bus driver was actually really nice. This bus driver gets on the intercom and says, I'm really sorry. We were really delayed. The bus actually broke down. It took us this long to get somebody. This wasn't my fault. So just sit back and relax, and we'll try to get there. I don't know, 4.5, 5 hours.
Oh my God.
Indianapolis. And so by the time he says that, I'm like in tears. I'm crying on the fucking bus.
Yeah, so you had the breakdown I had in Indianapolis. So, hey, we both had breakdowns near the bus station in Indianapolis. Yeah.
Right. Actually, before we boarded, because I had went back to customer service like about 8 o'clock about that. This is after the security guard yelled at me. One of the like station workers was walking around, and I just burst into tears. I was like, I'm just trying to get to Chicago, and I'm just in a mess right now, and I feel dirty, and the bus driver tried to kill us earlier. He ran us off the road, and I don't really want to take this bus no more, and I don't know how we get to Chicago, and I don't know anybody in St. Louis. Like,
oh my God.
And she was actually the nicest person. She's like, calm down. It's gonna be okay. Just breathe. It's gonna be okay. And I actually like felt, she wasn't trying to undermine me. Like, she was actually really nice. And like, oh my God, just thinking about that, I was just crying. So I cried then. I'm crying on the bus, like crying on the bus to try to get to Chicago. So we get to Indy. There's like, okay, so we're here. There is a bus leaving from Chicago in 5 minutes if you can get on it. And I look at my friend like, if you don't get your bag from under the bus
right
for 30 seconds and meet me at the customer service, like, and I'm just like standing there, and I'm like, I need to get to Chicago, please. They're like, okay, so it's leaving in like 3 minutes. I got to print off your ticket. And mind you, this could be because the process goes slow and I'm just cranky, but they are slow. Like, they will like take them tickets and look at it and pull it out ever so slow.
Yep.
They stamp it really slow, and I'm like, please. They're like, we'll get you on Chicago, I promise. And then finally, when she hands me my ticket, I'm like, bless you. I hope you find $20 on the ground. Thank you so much. And I just like jet for that line. So I literally go from customer service to they were boarding right then and about to leave to get to Chicago. So I get on there. I get on that bus. I was like, okay, we're on our way to Chicago. We just get on the bus. So WakandaCon started at 3 o'clock on Friday and ended at 8 o'clock. I got in Chicago at 6:45 p.m., which means I had to Uber from the Greyhound station to the convention center and then check into my hotel, which means I had got there about 7:30. I missed a whole day. Right. Thank you, Greyhound. I missed an entire day at my con. So that was what Friday was like. I literally had an hour to just kind of walk, get my badge, walk the vendor hall real quick, and then like, well, I guess I'm gonna take a shower.
Yeah.
Like I showed up at that to pick up my press pass. Like, I'm Quinzel. I know that I look like I just came off the street. I've just been traveling for like 18 hours. I've been traveling since 9 p.m. yesterday, and it is now 7 o'clock today. This is awful. So, again, WakandaCon was a dream, and we'll delve into
everything a little bit later. But this is not this episode. This episode is the trials and tribulations that we go through to give you the news.
Yes. So coming back home. Oh, God. So I was so actually anxious about, that's why when you were looking at my Twitter, I was making these tweets of like, please help me get back home because I don't think I can do the bus. And I'm still looking at the prices of everything. And since it's like day of, or in like, I'm looking Saturday to leave Sunday, everything is even more pricier because it's the day of, right? And I'm just like, it's even pricier than like when I first looked at it, and I'm like, I can't believe this. I don't know how I'm gonna get home. Even Amtrak, super, super high. I don't know what's going on this week, and I'm like looking and seeing and like what kind of finances I can come up with at the last minute because I do not want to get on this bus.
Right.
And WakandaCon closed at 3 o'clock. And so I kind of had a little bit of time before my bus left at like 7:40. And I just was dreading it the whole time. I'm like, I kind of don't want to like show up 2 hours early. I kind of want to go like close till, so I'm okay. So, oh God. So guys, I show up just a little bit before. Again, actually, even if you look at my Twitter, in between that weekend when I was at WakandaCon, I think it was like Greyhound Bus Inquiry or whatever the Twitter handle was. They're like, hey, send me your confirmation number. Let's get this resolved. They didn't. They literally just asked my confirmation number like twice and then never responded to my DMs again. Like never. Like, so on my way coming back home, you can see the picture where it just says delayed. So 7:40 rolls by, 8:40 rolls by, 9:40 rolls by, 10:40 rolls by. And finally they're like, so the bus is here literally now. But we're trying to also get people from another bus that's delayed. So if you can get on the bus before everybody else, then you can get home. If not, I don't know what to tell you because it's very delayed if we don't have any other buses. And you can't sleep here. So if you're here past what I think it was midnight that they closed, they're like, you can't stay here. And I'm like, I'm not from here. Oh my God.
I'm like, the bus station closes? Because they used to have buses come in at all hours.
So not all of them close. This particular one I was coming out of in Chicago apparently either closed that day or closes all the time. There's a few of them that close from like midnight to 4 a.m., something like that. And then most of them are open 24 hours.
Okay.
So it really just depends on where you get in at. And so I'm just like, I'm like freaking out. So of course, when they announced it, I'm like, you better run. Like, we can't tell which line is which because the guy's looking at the tickets like, no, this is Chicago. No, this is St. Louis. No, this is that. So they still won't say that. And then they do get on the intercom and they're like, by the way, it's going to be a 2 to 4 hour delay. I'm like, oh my God, I just want to go home. So again, we're delayed and then we have to wait 4 more hours to get on our next bus because the next bus is delayed when we get to St. Louis. So But St. Louis is a straight shot home. St. Louis is a straight shot home. This bus driver is great. She's really cute. She has 2 little afro puffs. She's actually super nice. And so I'm like, I just got to get on this bus and then I'm done. I just got to get on this bus and then I'm done. Right?
The devil lied to you.
This is a fucking, like, this was hell. So we're literally on there. We're on the highway. We're ready to go. I'm about to get some sleep. It's raining. I'm feeling good. The bus dies. The bus dies in the middle of the fucking highway.
Oh my God.
The bus fucking dies. So we're sitting there and she's trying to, start it up. It's not starting, or it starts a little bit, enough for her to get to the side of the road. And then she tries a couple of different things. And then she ends up having to, get out of the way of the highway because there's a fucking huge ass bus in the middle of the highway, and pull over into this abandoned mall parking lot. And she's calling them, and these assholes are like, well, we could send somebody out to fix it. And she's like, no, you need to send me a new bus. This bus is dead. It is fucking dead.
Right.
Like, send me a new bus. And they're like, no. Have you tried this? Have you tried turning it off and back on again? And she's like, I have literally done everything. It is not working. Send me a new bus. And they're like, okay, we'll get right on sending you a new bus. I heard that. They said, we'll get right on it. 1 hour passes. 2 hours pass. 3 hours pass. It takes 4 hours for them to get us a new bus. Now, mind you, this bus is not turned on. It's in the middle of the summer. It's hot as hell with 5,000 people on this bus, it feels like.
Right. Oh my God.
So another lady who's on the bus, she actually has a really young baby, maybe 6 months or so.
Mm-hmm.
And this is actually one time that I'm really glad I did not bring my child with me, because I would have been inconsolable on top of pissed. And she was very rightfully pissed. So it's raining. They're basically talking about towing the bus at this point. So we're just like, so what happens to us? We just stand out in the rain? And so this mom calls customer service, and she gets the same runaround I do with the confirmation, where are you going? And she has a very thick St. Louis accent. I don't really know how to describe it, but she's like, are you serious? I have a fucking infant. Are you... And the girl keeps saying no, I totally understand. I apologize for the inconvenience. Where are you going again? She says, I already told you where I'm going. Is you goofy? Is you goofy?
Oh my God.
And I'm trying not to laugh at this point, because we're on hour 3. And she's like, I have an infant. I cannot stand in the rain. You need to bring us a bus. Where is the bus driver? They're like, we don't have that information right now. And she's just she's actually really not even cussing at this point. She's just her tone is very this is fucking ridiculous. And we're like, yeah. And I'm like, wow, this is the same thing I went through when I was on the phone. They have no idea. They're very sorry. What is your confirmation number? And under normal circumstances, I feel very sorry for people who work in call centers and have to deal with angry customers, because they really don't have any idea. It does feel like Greyhound is fucked to the point where
they don't care.
They don't care. Their call center doesn't have to know anything. They're like, hey, just keep asking them for their confirmation number and over again, and they'll eventually hang up. When the bus gets there 4 hours from now. So my fucking God, 4 hours later, the fucking bus got there. And actually everybody was really nice, because she had to take all the luggage out from underneath the bus and put it on the new bus. Mm-hmm. And a bunch of the guys just was I'm not gonna let you, we've all been sitting here for 4 hours, let me help you. And she was like, thank y'all, and I just want to thank y'all for y'all patience. Honestly, this bus driver was a total 180 from the first bus driver that I had.
I'll say.
And honestly, we took that. We had to make a stop in Columbia. But she's like, listen, nobody's getting off the bus. Unless you are leaving and staying in Columbia, this isn't a pit stop. Nobody's getting off the bus. I'm just going to get you guys to where you're going, because it's supposed to be a straight shot. So this is just the only detour I can make. And so we're on our way to Columbia, and I'm trying to remind myself, oh, I used to go to college in Columbia and Gumby's and things like that. But I'm honestly on the phone with my husband, trying not to cry. because I'm like, the fucking bus broke down and I'm just scared it's gonna break down again. And the bus driver on my way here said a bus broke down and I just can't do this. And he's like, hey, if it breaks down in Columbia, call me. That's like 2-3 hours. I'll get in the car and come get, somebody's gonna come get you. Like,
Right.
because I think we were in Chesterville, Missouri, I think. But I wasn't sure because I only just saw the name on the highway. So I was like, oh my God, if I die here, I can't tell anybody where I'm at.
Oh my God.
Oh God, because I'm like, I feel like it'd take them like a day and a half. And then this guy was in the front of the bus, totally trying to be like, oh yeah, that must be a faulty so-and-so in the engine. And I had a bus break down on me and we were stranded for 29 days and we had to figure out, we didn't know anything. And I'm like, oh my God, dude, shut up.
29 days? What?
That seems like a very excessive story.
Yes.
like I'm not staying somewhere for a month.
So, number one, the fact that he's up there talking about it and just like bringing up his dearth of knowledge, he seems like one of those guys. And the guys I'm talking about that have gone through everything you have gone through, but only worse.
Yeah.
So, I would have lost my mind at that point. That would have been the thing that made me snap and start throwing chicken biscuit crackers.
It should have. I was out of crackers.
Oh my God.
It took me 85,000 hours just to get home. And when I got home, I just cried. I grabbed my shit and I was like, you get your shit as fast as you can. I'm getting in that car and I'm crying. I felt like I kept thinking of the Fire Festival.
Yeah.
And those kids in the fucking airport and like the cheese sandwiches and shit.
Well, they didn't even give you a damn cheese sandwich.
Well, that's true. Yeah, most of it. Yeah, I didn't even get it. I didn't have any snacks. So like, I was actually surprised because they said like in that news story that we talked about that they gave them, like they all bought them lunch. Like,
yeah.
For us, it's like they didn't even want us to sit down after standing for a few hours. Like they are not nice. They're not good people. And I think it really is, it boils down to the fact that they're like, hey, if you could afford to fly, then you would fly. So since you can't afford it, then we're going to treat you like you're poor trash, essentially.
Yeah.
And that's the experience that I got out of it. WakanaCon was a dream. WakanaCon was amazing. It does not deserve to be like neck and neck with this really terrible, shitty experience. It does not. God. So I just have to warn anybody out there. And I rode the city bus too. I was put on the city bus to learn how to ride the bus and everything like that. So as much as I've, I guess, roughed it, as most people have said, I very much value the importance now of being a little bougie. Because if not, you'll be stranded for 18 hours in a city that you do not know. And I've also ridden planes by myself, and that has never been an issue. Like, I've had plane delays. It's been a total different experience.
Oh, yeah.
It's been a total different experience when you're delayed with the plane. You get more information. They treat you well. They don't be like, well, if you can't get on this plane, then I don't know what to tell you, but you can't stay here. Right. Figure out what you're going to do in this city by yourself. But no.
A hotel voucher, or they'll at least give you a voucher for something to eat within the airport.
Yeah. Like here, it's like they didn't care if you didn't. And that's another thing. Like I ate the best once I was in Chicago. Shout out to Lou Malnati's because that's what I got the very first night. They had great deep dish pizza and they delivered to the hotel. So that was awesome. I could take a shower and eat my pizza. Not in the shower, you know what I mean.
I know. Shower pizza, sometimes you're depressed. And
I mean, yeah, I know. That's what I was thinking. It's like maybe I was so depressed from the bus ride that I just cried in the shower. But no, I got the grime off and I had the pizza and it was great. But like, that's the sucky part. It's like they very much treat their customers like they're second-class citizens. Like, you're poor and you can't do anything about it, and we're not going to give you your money back. So that's another thing. It's
that's another thing. No, let me tell you. So the trip that I took, that I broke down in Indianapolis sobbing, I still had a bit of ticket left. They owed me a ride. And this was eons ago. Like I said, I'm pushing 40 hard through by the back end. And this was in my 20s, early 20s, almost like 19, 20, 21. And so I tried to get a refund on that. And even then, I was getting the runaround. And I didn't have the patience that I have now, because I got PTO and I got time. I will sit on a phone to make a point. I just sit shoes back to make a point. So, yeah. But at the time, I didn't have the patience nor the PTO. So, but yeah, them and refunds are really fishy too.
Yeah, that's kind of where I'm at, is like, so they didn't want to give a refund. They were very like, you purchased a non-refundable ticket, so it's non-refundable. It's like, actually, I purchased a trip that didn't actually happen, and you caused me to be very delayed. And, you know, again, like, I love writing for Geeky Girl Guide. I love doing press for cons, but this is work, and like, this is a job, and you actually caught, like, it wasn't a minor inconvenience. It wasn't even like an hour late. You made me miss an entire day of work. Like, that is unacceptable. And then you treated us like crap, and then you ran us off the road. Like, you caused, like, you put us in jeopardy. Like, we're not safe on top of that. Like, yeah, no, give me my money back. Actually, you know what? I'll just call my bank.
Did you?
So, yeah, I did. So, we're working on like a, you know, you can either, if it's like service is not rendered or like question of like quality or something like that, it's something that they can research and get the money back. Okay. So I don't know if that's gonna work out or not, but I'm still gonna, we're gonna keep working on it either way. The point is, never take Greyhound.
So we're gonna do a couple things with this. Number one, this is where we're gonna end the show right now. But when this comes out, what I want you guys to do is use the hashtag Greyhound Nightmares and tell us your story about your Greyhound trips and what happened to you. Yeah, because we know we're not the only ones.
And let me know if they bought you a sandwich.
Yeah, please let us know if they bought you a sandwich. I would like my chicken biscuit crackers replaced. Number two, what I'm going to do is, like I said, I got time and I got PTO. So I'm going to go ahead and research the upper levels of people that work at Greyhound, and they're going to get this podcast episode and they're going to get a letter. So if you want to write a letter too, so that I have it to give to them, that would be super as well. This is ridiculous. Like, Greyhound basically preys on poor people.
Yeah, that's what it absolutely what it feels like.
They prey on poor people, and you know, it's rough enough in this country being poor. Nobody deserves to be poor with shitty service just because they're poor. That, you know, that's some like feudal lord bullshit, and I'm not here for it. I don't know if we can get this made right. I don't know, but we're damn sure going to try. So
I do want to say the people on the bus, like these poor people that, especially when the first bus driver was like, oh, y'all want to fight on the bus, you want to have bullets on the bus, everybody actually on the bus, down to like the guys that were helping her like load in the luggage, to the mom with her baby. And I'm like, hey, go ahead, like, can we get you, you know, people were being like, can we get your baby a blanket? The baby was fine. You would think the baby would be screaming, people would be cussing at the bus driver because the buses broke down. No, everybody's like trying to help each other. Like, everybody's trying to be kind. Like, there's a couple of people who's like, do you have a charger? Like, I need to call this person, that person. Like, everybody was, we like to assume that poor people are like these rowdy people that are starting fights and acting crazy, and that's a systemic conversation for another day.
Yes.
But everybody on this bus, like, we were good to each other and like helping each other out. And like, I'm going to sit down for a little bit. I can stand up. Do you need to have this seat? Like, we were like rotating chairs and like things like that to help each other out. So to think that poor people are these horrible, awful people, like, actually, we were the ones being good to each other. It was everybody else that was being shitty to us. So, yes.
So that concludes, I guess, this bonus episode. Like I said, when this comes up, I'm gonna hashtag it. I forget what the hashtag is right now because it's past my bedtime.
I
But
forgot to.
once I re-listen and as I edit, I will write it down and we will go from there. And I can't wait to hear your stories. And Greyhound, I'm coming for you. I don't mean that as a threat. Please don't swap me. But
I mean, we ain't getting on this bus, so we also literally aren't coming for you. Like, we're not going near the station.
well, I roll a Toyota Venza. It's got good mileage. We can nuck if you buck. But we're gonna do something. We're gonna figure this out because this is absolutely ridiculous. And like I said, it's been many years since I've traveled, and like y'all are still doing the same thing, punishing the same people. I don't think so. So, all right, guys, talk to you soon. Bye.
Bye.
Hey there. Thank you for tuning in. Geeky Girls Night In is brought to you by me, Leslie. Special thanks to Quinzel. Shouts out to Kim, Emily, and Mecca, who are always willing to give a helping hand. Do you like the show? Wishing there was something you could do to support? Help us out by buying us a cup of coffee. Go to coffee.com/geekygirlsni to pledge a cup or two for the show. That's ko-fi.com/geekygirls, N as in Nancy, I. Your support helps keep the lights on in the dungeon and the podcast on the air. Special thanks to Michelle. She's our first donor. You can check out other writings or interesting tidbits on Geeky Life at geekygirlguide.com. Until next time.